All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Alicia. I am a multi-passionate creative. I am loved, and so are you. And so my goal in life is to show people that they are loved as well, that they matter. If at any time you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat because I want to get through this whole thing before we do Q&As at the end. Because I want to be sure that you're able to get all the information that you can get from this. There will be a replay sent out. So if you have to leave early or if you come late, don't worry about it. It's all good. And so I started Black Girl Creative because I wanted to help Black women recover their creativity and live out the dreams that are in their heart. And if they want to start a business, to do that too, to make an income, but also make an impact on their people. And so we do this. So I have 5 pillars that I usually follow, and that's creativity, community, holistic well-being, storytelling, and giving or generosity. Excuse me. So yeah, ultimately, I just want to see Black women win. That's the whole point. So yeah, like I started my independent artist journey around 2016 officially. And this is after I got married. Letting people in. Okay, yeah. So this is after I got married and everything like that. And I was able to really carve out a life that I really wanted to live. So again, me and my husband RV'd for 6 months full time. I took a sabbatical these past few months. I'm just tired. I'm able to work in seasons that I want to work in, and I can stay longer with friends and family. And I can live a life that is mine to experience, you know? And so I know I'm not a millionaire, you know, and that's okay, but I have enough to be able to live a life that I want to live. So yes, so just rules, I guess rules, not really rules, but just how to make this a more enjoyable experience. As I said earlier, for those of you who weren't here, I want to be sure that we're using language that is accessible for everybody. So I'll be using very like layman term language because that works too. Like it's just as good as what other people talk about in their business courses. And workshops and things like that. And so, like I said, if you have a question, please in the chat, put question, like in all caps before your question, so that at the end of it, I can go back and read through it and answer all the questions. If I have the answers, I will share. If I don't, I'll look it up and try to figure it out with you. But I'm an open book, so you can ask me anything. And there are no dumb questions. So be sure to ask anything you'd like. There's no shame here. Like I said, if I have the answer, I will share it. So this is really important to me because when I was in high school, I had a choir teacher. His name was Mr. Murphy. And he basically said, anything that we get for our community, we should bring it back. And so ultimately, everything that I'm learning, everything I learned from trial and error, you know what I mean, from other people, I'm willing to bring that back. And I'm also trying to decolonize my mindset, especially when it comes to my creativity, my art. I did go to Largo. Yes, I did go to Largo. Yeah, so Mr. Murphy, he's amazing. If you've heard of him, if you're from the DMV area. Anyway, so he basically told us to bring everything back to our community. Yay, Joy, you went to Largo too. Awesome. Yes. I get excited. Okay. So I want to work on decolonizing my mindset around my creativity, my art, and my business. And so that means a lot. That means not going for what other people are telling us or the masses are telling us to go for. I did a whole spiel on how I'm not for hustle culture or grinding or none of that. I'm not for especially Black women to work themselves to exhaustion for $1. I'm just not about that. Because our ancestors have been doing this for years. And honestly, our ancestors have been entrepreneurs for years too, but it just wasn't like official, or it wasn't looked at as something that was to be regarded as like important. So if you're struggling to figure out if you're valuable, you have something to offer. This country could not run without your people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even the construct of the way that we operate and work in this country is based off of slavery. And we know that our history goes beyond slavery, but it just is what it is. So at the end, I will be offering a chance to work with me further. If you don't want to, that's totally fine too. There's no pressure, but I want to make sure that you're able to get something from what we're talking about here. All right. So let's get started. So this is not a workshop to tell you how to make $1 million. I believe that we can be wealthy and build a life we actually love in a way that honors our health, our resources, our time. And I believe that we can build a business in a sustainable way. For a lot of these, I'm just gonna be honest, a lot of these millionaire or billionaire corporations are not built in an ethical way. And honestly, building something in an ethical way takes more time and energy and more thought. So, but it's worth it because at the end of the day, you'll have a life that honors you. This is not about how to get rich quick. I believe all things take time. This is not about how to follow trends, to build a business that will make you a millionaire, like I said before. And this is not about building a business. This is about building your dream life ultimately, right? So in order to build a dream life, you got to have money. You got to make money. Like everything costs something. But it's really up to you to determine what your needs are and then to build a business that supports that. So not just like what you need monetarily, but also holistically. So we'll get to that later, but let's just start. So the benefits of starting a new business, I can't tell you, making money, obviously, the more money you have, the more freedom you have, the more time you have to spend with your loved ones, the more options you have for folks, the more time that you have to do what you love, but also to impact your community. You can give more if you have more to give. And so more incomes bring more options. More income brings more options. And so you have room to do more than just work. I feel like in this country, the first thing people ask you is, oh, what do you do? And the first response to that question is usually, oh, I work here, or I do this, or this is what I do to make money. We're never really thinking about who we are as people, because we're taught that who we are as people is directly connected to how productive we are, how much we're making other people. And so we really, when we're comfortable and we have enough money coming in, we have the opportunity to really redefine who we are and really figure out who we are beyond how much money we're making. So, and to do this is just a note, you don't have to start a business to do this. You don't have to. Like, I spoke to a woman recently and she only worked part-time so that she could spend time with her kids. And so she knew that she wasn't going to have all the money that she wanted to have to do all this lavish stuff. But for her, what was valuable was spending time with her children. And so she was willing to take that pay cut to be able to spend more time with her kids. So there's a way that you can design a life that you love beyond starting a business. And if you decide that after this, you don't want to build a business, that's fine too, but make sure that you're doing something that honors you and honors your values. All right. So the question I have for you first is, why do you want to start a business, right? And so, like I said, you can share the answers in the chat because I just want to be sure that we're getting through all this stuff. But I want you to be honest and write down your why. Be specific and hold tight to your why, because you're going to need it as you journey through building your business, right? So personally, I don't think that your goal should be just to get rich. Money is fleeting. And the idea of what is rich changes based on what pay grade you're in, right? Because to the person making $20,000 a year, 80,000 sounds like, oh my God, that's life-changing. But for the person making 80,000 a year, they're like, if I can make 120, then that would be life-changing. And so on and so on. You'll never have enough. And so it's really important to define your why. And so becoming wealthy is a byproduct of living in alignment and serving your community. So money is not what wealth is. Wealth is about more than just money. It's about your health, your finances, of course, but also your spiritual health, your communal health, your relationships to other people. All this other stuff determines whether or not you're wealthy. And so honestly, let's be honest, for a lot of us, wanting to be rich is a trauma response. For a lot of us, it's just I don't want to struggle no more. I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to not have the funds to be able to, take my mom out for dinner or something. It could be something like that. It could be a trauma response. And so what I don't want you to do is build a business based on your trauma responses. I want you to really think about the why of building your business. And and if we're not careful, our trauma responses will make us desperate. And we'll do anything for money, anything. And it doesn't have to be, immoral. It's literally anything. Doing, getting careers or degrees in fields that we really don't want to work, but we just oh, this is just going to bring in more money. But if you're working at this career that you don't like for 8 hours a day, it's is that really a wealthy life? Is that really enjoyable? So that's just my own personal opinion. There's more to living than just chasing a bag. Be intentional. You can chase a bag, but you'll always be chasing it. And if you have wealth, you'll never lack. You'll never lack. So again, holistic well-being is holistic well-being is wealth, monetary, but yes, physical, soul, spirit, relationships, community. And if you build a business where this is compromised, it's not wealth, it's bondage. Literally you making $1 million and having no free time to spend with your loved ones, that's bondage. That's not freedom. And so we want to be sure that we're building a life that brings freedom into our lives. So yes. And again, like I said before, white supremacy, all that good stuff has convinced us that we have to live to literally work. Somebody else said this in a video I posted, and I was like, that's it. That's it. We're taught to live to work, not work to live, not the opposite way around. Not to work for living our best life, but really we're just here to work until we die, which is again, how's that any different from, I can go on my soapbox, but how's that any different than slavery, right? How's that any different? Except, you're making money, but at what cost? And I really feel you should define what success looks for yourself. So think 5 years ahead from now. And 5 years is a good time because, a year is like that. 5 years, it takes time to build something. What does your life look like? What does it feel like? Where are you living? What are you doing for fun? How are you giving back to your community? And then I want you to define your boundaries. So what are your values? What are your hard no's, no thank yous? Like, you know, what time are you working? When you clocking out and really clocking out, like not taking your computer to bed with you and trying to figure out how to work some more. Like, you know, really defining what your success is important before you start anything. So, yeah, what do you want the culture of your life to be? That's the question. And so really ask why you want those things. Like what is really at the heart of those things? Like, for example, I've said this before, some people say, I want to be famous, but really they just want love. They want recognition. They want importance. They want to feel like what they're doing is making an impact. And that's how I felt as a singer-songwriter. I'm like, I want to be famous. I want to, you know, sell out arenas, but really I just wanted my music to touch people. You know what I mean? I want it to be, and that starts before I even write a song. So I have to do the inner work that other people can't do for me. And so honestly, ask yourself what the message is you want to leave behind. What are people saying about you? Like if you happen to pass, like what do you want people to remember about you? Not that you worked these crazy hours, right? But that you really made an impact on your community. And how do you want people to feel when they come in contact with your thing, your business? Like, what do you want people to feel? All right, so the first step is to finding and uncovering your things. We had a meetup about this before, but basically this whole process is about uncovering ourselves, because a lot of people feel like, oh, I have to find myself. I have to find my thing. And really, like, you already have it. It's just buried underneath of all these things that we put on ourselves, whether people put on us or we just accept it, or we put on ourselves, like I said, trying to fit in. So finding yourself, like I said, is more like uncovering yourself. And a few questions you can ask yourself. I'll let you write them down. Oh, I'll come back to the chat. I will. What are the top 5 things you're obsessed with right now? The top 5 things you're obsessed with. What did you enjoy as a child? And I'll just copy and paste it in the chat too. What do you secretly enjoy now? Like in your private time, what are you like researching and studying that nobody knows about? Whose career do you envy and why? What about their career do you envy? If money wasn't an issue for you, what would you be doing? And sometimes that's a really hard question to answer because a lot of us are just trying to make money. What are some frustrations in your field or daily life? And so this could look like you go into the grocery store and you're like, I wish they had this, you know, like, why can't they do this thing? Or, you know, for you, if we want to use like Grubhub, for example, I wish that these restaurants delivered, and somebody was like, oh, there's a pain point for someone. Let me, you know, build a business around that. So that can be, in your personal life or day-to-day or in your field. What do you love about what you do? Even if you hate the job, there has to be something that you like about what you do. It could be you talking to people. It could be you making an impact, listening to people's stories. It doesn't have to be directly related to the job. What do you hate about your job or your past jobs? So even if you're not employed right now, like looking back at the jobs, what do you absolutely hate about your job? What are your interests and hobbies? And we'll get to that in a second because there's a difference. What would you do for free if all your needs were met? So that's kind of like the same question earlier. And this last question I want to ask you, and I really want you to take time and think about it, but also reach out to other people and ask them this question. What do your friends come to you for? When they're in a bind, when they need help, what exactly do they come to you and ask you? It could be advice. It could be they come to me to cheer up. Anything. It all counts. So again, I'm going to copy these questions and put them in the chat. Paste. Okay, it's a lot of questions. All right. So now that after we have our things, after we define what our things are, it's time to categorize them, right? So there are, like I said, there's a difference between interests, hobbies, services, and passions, right? So interest is literally just something you're interested in. Like it's just something that you're interested in, that you research. You're not really doing it, but it's interesting to you. Hobbies are something you do for fun, not for money, but just for fun, like to feel good, like to pass time, right? Services is something you do for somebody else. Like, how do you serve other people? And it doesn't have to be a way that you make money. It's just a way that you serve other people. So, you know, if you help your mother out in the garden, that's a service. If you buy groceries for a friend down the street. If you take care of their kids, that's a service that you provide for somebody else. Excuse me. And passions. So passions are something that kind of ignite a fire in you, right? Like when you think of like being impassioned, it's like fiery, it's red, it's exciting. And so this is something, it can be both, right? So it can be something that makes you excited and happy, and it can also be something that infuriates you, right? It's something that really like pisses you off. Like for me, people being mistreated pisses me off. Like that really, it upsets me. Elitism makes me upset. Like there's so many things that make me upset. And this informs you about things that bother you. And if it bothers you, there are other people who are bothered by the same thing. And there's a group of people that you can serve with your passions. Creativity is a passion of mine. I believe that everybody is creative. You know what I mean? Like I believe every single person is creative. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're an artist. It means that they're creative. So if we can bring that creativity out of other people, that makes me happy. All right. All right, so professional, something you do professionally, literally, it just means that you trade your money for a thing, that you trade someone's money for a thing, or a thing for money, I should say. So whatever you have, a service, a product, whatever it is, you just trade it for money. And all money is something to show that what you have is valuable. It's just value. That's all it really is. And so when we go into like making the businesses, so now that you have your interests, hobbies, services, and passions all written out, now we can categorize our things, and we can categorize who we are as people. So the first prototype, and this is something I got from another creative. Her name is Cathy Heller. She's a white woman. But what she said, like it really resonated with me. I'm like, okay, I could take this because this makes a lot of sense. So the different kind of creators that you can be, right? The first one is the actual creator, right? The person who makes the thing, like the person who paints the picture, the person who makes the earrings, the digital art, whatever it is, the person who makes it, right? The second one is a service provider. And so I kind of just added this on there, but a service provider, and this is a person who provides a service for somebody. So, going with the painting analogy, we'll see how far we can get with this analogy. Okay, so going for the painting analogy, you have the person who makes the painting. Then for a service provider, you have someone who paints. So someone can come, hey, I need to hire you to, create a mural on my wall, or I need you to paint my house, right? Then you have a teacher. This is someone who teaches somebody how to paint, right? This is somebody who like has classes or whatever it is. These are people who are teaching you how to do the thing. And a lot of people say those who can't teach. I don't believe that. I think that's a lie. Like clearly if they do it, they teach it, then, that's a whole other thing. But I feel like this takes a special person to be a teacher, because you have to be okay with, like, there's a way that you have to communicate things so people can understand it. And you need patience to be a teacher. And then there's curator. And so me and Candace, we talked about this, but curating, like people who don't necessarily want to make the thing, they don't necessarily want to teach the thing, they don't want to like have all their hands like doing the thing for the person. They want to curate a place or a thing for someone else to enjoy. So this is like, you see, what is that called? HelloFresh. HelloFresh, that's a curated box. Like that's a curated box that people get, I guess, monthly to get their groceries. So the people aren't, they're not growing the food themselves. They're not doing that. They're getting it from other people, curating it and sending it off to other people. They're just the middleman, just the middleman. Or people who have memberships. These are people who curate a space, design a space for people to come. Like, hey, come out and hang out. They curate that space. So that's a curator. And just like you think about an artist curator at a museum, like this person collects certain, and this is as little as I know about curating at museums, but this person collects art that goes along with a theme or an artist themselves, and they curate the space. So it's the same idea. Then you have an investigator, right? And this person is someone who investigates this stuff. They might not do it. They might just be intrigued with it, but they investigate it. So for example, you have podcasts, right? People who investigate how food is made, right? These shows that we watch. These are investigative people. They might not own like a fish farm or a farm itself, but they're showing people how stuff is made. They're making it very plain. So these are people who investigate. So the question is, do you know what kind of person you are? So for a creator, this is someone who just likes to make stuff. They just want to make stuff and give it away. That's it. They just want to create stuff and be done and move on. A service provider is working with people to use your thing to help and serve other people. So this is about, it's never like a message of which one is greater or better. It's just different. And we're all different people, and that's okay. but we all have need for all these things. So for service provider, it's more about serving the people and giving them what they want, as opposed to being a creator. You create what you want, right? Being a service provider is more about serving their specific needs. A curator, again, this is someone who might not want to be overwhelmed with all this stuff. I mean, that's me a lot of times. Like, I'm just like, I'm done, you know? But also be able to curate a wonderful experience for other people. So again, subscription boxes is a great one for people, you know, who don't feel like going to the grocery store, who just don't feel like being bothered, but they're like, hey, if you send groceries to my house and I don't have to think about it, I don't have to come up with the recipes, and you do all that work for me, that's great. And so curators are good at making the stuff or creating the plan for people and giving it to them. Investigators, these are just curious people who want to share information with other folks. And teaching, again, it requires patience. It requires being able to break down something in very understandable ways so people can follow. And I should also say, for teaching, it's not their teacher's responsibility to get them to where they need to be. It's really working in relation with them. Like, so you're giving them the information, you're helping them along, but you can't do all the work for them, if that makes sense. So my question to you is, do you know what kind of person you are, and understand that you can be more than one kind of person, and you can combine these things, right? So for me, for example, I love music and storytelling, right? So I'm investigative in that way. I love hearing people's stories. I love having conversations with folks, and I love music. I love making music. And so I'm starting this project where I'm taking stories from other people and making songs from their music. Or for photography, the same thing. I like photography and storytelling. So I have a photo project coming up where I'm taking people's pictures and getting their stories, you know, just having conversations with them. Joy, you're here. Last time we talked, this just came up, and it doesn't mean that you have to do this, but you said that you used to be a makeup artist. And so, and as far as curating, you know, an idea for that is a subscription box for makeup lovers, or a subscription box for people who don't know what they're doing, like me. So like, instead of me going to Target and being overwhelmed with like, oh my, I don't know what to get. I don't know who's good. I don't know how to even apply this stuff, right? Being able to curate a box for other people to be like, oh, I got you. Like, it's fine. You know, if you can get their skin tone or whatever, like whatever you need, I really don't know what makeup artists do, but like whatever you need to get them started on their journey. Oh, here's some red lipstick that should work for everybody. Or here's some, you know, here's how to apply makeup. And like I said, so that's I'm all over the place, but that subscription box, that's a curating and that's teaching, because you can also have like monthly workshops, like how to apply mascara, you know, simple things like that. So you can make this your own thing. You can make it whatever you want it to, whatever you want it to be. Okay, so again, like if you have any questions, just feel free to type questions in bold and then put your question after that, and then I'll answer it when we circle back around. All right, so next we should talk about understanding your customer. So who is your ideal customer? What is her name or his name? What do they do? What do they do for fun? What do they want and desire? What do they think? Like, and what do they truly need? What do they say they want, but what do they really need? And this is another question you can ask yourself. Is it the consumer that you're serving, or is it a business that you're serving, right? So do you want to sell directly to the client, like your customer, or do you want to sell directly to a business, right? For example, Target, right? We're customers. We go on there, we go purchase things. So Target is marketing to us as the consumer, but there's somebody selling their product to Target to curate it for them, right? Or another example I have is for photography, for an example. The consumer, business to consumer is, so I'm a photographer and I'm selling to my client, my ideal customer. So if I want to shoot people, I want to shoot them as beautiful as they are, like with little to no editing, right? That's my perfect client. However, I can also sell them books and software. I can also sell books and software to other photographers to teach them how to take pictures, how to organize, you know, an album or things like that. So I can still sell to the client, who is the person who just wants the pictures, but I can also sell to the photographer. And so it's important to really determine who your person is, because then that determines how you can go into marketing. And we'll get to that in a second. But yes. So the important thing about thinking about your customer is, what is their pain point? So their pain point is something that causes frustration, that makes them feel something of lack, or that something is missing, right? And so you can determine their pain point by figuring out what they want or need. And sometimes the pain point is based on where you used to be. So if you, for me, like as a creative, I was so frustrated, and I saw a question about being multi-passionate in there, and I'm so excited that you asked that question, because I am a multi-passionate creative, and it's so frustrating when everyone is telling me, niche down, pick one thing, do one thing, and I'm like, I don't want to. Like, that sounds insufferable to me. Like, that sounds like prison. And so instead of me trying to fit into their box, I just decided to create my own where other people can be celebrated for being multi-passionate. Like, why is there not a space for people being multi-passionate? And there is people out there. There are people out there who are celebrating multiple passions, and helping people to thrive in them being multi-passionate. So again, this can be where you used to be. This is about where you were stuck before and how you got unstuck, right? So what are things that frustrated you? So your audience could be a past version of yourself, but there can also be pain points that you notice today from other friends, other clients, other businesses, and something that makes you say, someone should fix that. Like a frustration that someone else experiences. And literally it could be as simple as, if we look at Chick-fil-A versus McDonald's. Now, if you eat there, I mean, that's fine. But like McDonald's, you know what you're getting when you go to McDonald's, right? It's like, what you want, we ain't got it. The ice cream machine is down, right? At Chick-fil-A, it's like, welcome to Chick-fil-A, like, and my pleasure. And I apologize. Like they don't sell exactly the same food, but it's all fast food, right? But how it's packaged is different. Somebody said, this McDonald's service is trash. I don't know how Chick-fil-A was started, but this McDonald's service is trash. Let's create a business where people feel like family when they come here. I feel like that's their whole message. Like you feel like you're supposed to feel like family when you come here. And if you do, that's a whole other conversation, but that really sets them apart. And there are some things like when you're frustrated in line at McDonald's waiting for 30 minutes for a hamburger, right? You're going to be more forgiving at Chick-fil-A because they actually seem empathetic about it. They're like, I'm so sorry. Like it is our fault, and here's some free cookies on us, like to make things better. Right. So it could be a frustration like that. And so, and it could be a criticism that you have. If I did that, I would do it this way. Right. The best place for inspiration is criticism. I mean, it's not the best, but it's one of the greatest places for inspiration is criticism, because if you feel like you can do it better, you should do it better. And it's not saying that we have to, because there are a lot of things that frustrate me, but I don't want to do, right? But for the things that we want to do, if there's something that somebody else that we see, like, why did she do it like that? I don't like that. Instead of criticizing that person, do it yourself and do it your own way and do it in a way that honors you and your people. Hope this makes sense. So again, another example is like DoorDash, like I said before, getting food from the restaurant without having to go to the restaurant. But again, it can also be good inspiration. So wanting to create a space where Black women can come together and feel pampered and feel important. And so somebody might create a spa, dedicated to Black women. Having a retreat center where people can come. This is one of my ultimate dreams, to have a place where Black women can come and rest and create and not worry about eating or paying bills, like really just take 2 weeks out of life to just make stuff. Like that would be the dream. But I don't have that right now. So, and that's okay, because eventually I hope to, but yeah, that's the goal. And where Black people feel safe, because I feel like rest and pleasure is seen as this thing that you have to earn or work for. And I don't think that that's the case. So anyway, that's just me. So we're gonna talk about business models. So there are a lot of different business models you can follow. You can do a combination of many things. Whatever works for you, and that's totally fine. So there could be products. So this is the first one I'm gonna talk about, products. So literally makeup, crayons, food, clothes, jewelry, etc. Things that you can tangibly hold or things that people can consume some sort of way. So products. The next one is service-based businesses. So again, that's like taking photos, cleaning houses, detailing cars, building gardens, grocery shopping for folks, things like that, fixing broken things, services for other people. Then you have workshops, courses, and events, right? So this is about teaching folks something, a how-to class, online or in person. It could be showcases, it could be concerts, curated events, just like experiences that people have coming and working with you. Another example is memberships and subscription services. So like I mentioned before, so memberships is more about having a community of people online, like focused on one thing, and being able to monthly or weekly, however you want to, quarterly, yearly, whatever it is, having people pay to access that thing. So examples are Spotify, Netflix, gym memberships. Like these are things that we pay either annually or monthly to be able to enjoy something. A subscription service is more about like receiving something in exchange. So that could also be Spotify, Netflix, but we're thinking more like HelloFresh, ThreadUp, something else. What is that called? Oh my gosh, it's okay. But other things that you can get monthly. Another example is a content creator. So what I want to say about creating content, it doesn't have to be vlogs, it doesn't have to be podcasts, it doesn't have to be Instagram posts. It could literally be like movies or films or, you know, a curated work. So a magazine, like something that you can make to put together for other people, a book, like this is content creation. And what I will say about content creation is that it might take more time to make money from those things, and that's okay. But usually tying something else attached to that, like another model to that, will help you be able to make more money from that thing. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But yes, there's something for every interest that you have, right? So an example is, again, and so I'm sorry, I forgot to mention one more thing. Content creation can also be public speaking. It could also be service-based too, but like things like that, things that teach other people, like giving someone content to help them do something else or just help them feel good. And that's okay too. So it's like I said, there's something that interests everybody, and you can make something from everything that you do. So, you know, think of like the small things we pay for, the small conveniences we pay for. Somebody had to be like, you know, this is kind of extra, but somebody's willing to pay for this. And makeup artists, for example, another example, I said, the products, I'm going to use the makeup artist and give every example. So products, right? Sell makeup, like make makeup and sell it, right? Or get someone to make it for you and sell it. Workshops, how to make makeup, how to make makeup, how to make makeup, or how to apply makeup, how to become a makeup artist. Services, doing makeup for other folks. And so one thing I will say about services, that could be really exhausting depending on the kind of person that you are, especially if you're not pricing yourself well, because you get burnt out really, really fast. And that's why I had to take a break from photography, to be totally honest. I was really burnt out. Memberships and subscriptions, a monthly makeup curated by someone else and given to somebody else every single month. Content creation, blogging about how to use makeup or interviewing other makeup artists, et cetera, et cetera. So photographer, another example. Products, sell prints or cameras. Workshops, how to operate a camera. Someone literally asked me for that workshop. And it's crazy because sometimes we think too far ahead we think like, oh, it has to be amazing, it has to be brilliant, when really like the basic stuff people are struggling with. And you think that you have to be perfect to help other people. You don't. Like, you have the things that you know. Like, I don't know the first thing about design. I don't know how to make a GIF. I don't know, you know, like there are certain things that people know how to make, and they're like, oh, everybody should know how to make that. You'll be surprised about how much stuff you know that other people do not know. So yeah, somebody asked me like literally for a workshop on how to operate your camera. I'm still working on that. Services, take pictures for other people. Memberships and subscriptions. Memberships to a community where you learn new techniques or you collaborate with other people and network. Content creation, vlogging, or teaching other people how to take pictures. So again, like I said, you can combine the different models together as you're interested in it, and it sets you apart from other people in the same industry. So as I mentioned before, the makeup example, like you're not just getting makeup sent to you every month, right? I'm also teaching you how to apply that makeup, how like to make it, you know, things like that, how to market yourself as a makeup artist. So yeah. It requires you to know your audience and their pain points, as we mentioned before, to really serve them wholeheartedly. So you really have to do that research beforehand. And sometimes the main audience are your friends, are your people. And the best way to ask them is just to ask them like, hey, if you were just starting out doing this thing, what would you want to know? Like, what would you need? If you wanted to learn how to apply makeup, what's keeping you from learning how to apply makeup? For me, like, just being honest, and this is just like an answer if somebody would ask me that question, I don't have the time. I don't have the money to keep wasting on products. And I know that it's just not going to work and just going to sit in my counter looking at me and mocking me like for spending all this money on it and not using it. So, you know, like it's frustrating. And when it doesn't work out, I get frustrated with myself, and it makes me feel like there's something wrong with me. But if I had someone to tell me, hey, this is what you do, and for like a, you know, a simple beat, not like, you know, not a full one, you know, this is what you do, I would be grateful, you know. Yes, and as a photographer, you can take their photos, right? You can simply take photos, but you can also deliver prints and photo books, or teach them how to color coordinate for their outfits for their shoot. It takes them a step further than just like, hey, JCPenney photo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can just go to JCPenney for that. But if you want a curated experience, if you want something that's really serving you, then you have to do the work to set yourself apart from other people. All right, so putting it all together, right? Oh, one more mention. When you separate yourself by adding something more, be sure to compensate yourself for that as well, because it takes more work it takes more work than to just curate a box, than to also teach people how to apply that stuff and take questions and answers. Like, you really have to think about yourself in that way. And we'll get to pricing in a second, but yeah, putting it all together. Am I going too fast? Is everything okay? Like, everything's good? Okay, cool. Putting it all together, your dream business. So we talked about your interests, hobbies, and passions, your ideal client, and their pain points. your personality type, right? Your boundaries, the business models that stick out to you. And so I want you to, in your free time, like take 5 minutes and really just like, without judging yourself, actually maybe like 15, without judging yourself, without it having to be perfect, without you having to have all the answers right now, just like literally brainstorm your ideal business. Like, what would you be making? What would you be doing? And don't worry about how to get there yet. Just give yourself time and space to dream and be okay with dreaming. Okay. And so, like I said, remove the limiting beliefs from it. So this is shared so much about limiting beliefs. And what we really have to understand is, and okay, I'm just going to say this as an aside, limiting beliefs is sold from the majority's perspective, right? But for us as Black women, we have a lot of limiting beliefs because of how society literally has treated us. It's not in our minds. It's not, something we're making up. It's our real experiences or the experiences of other people who came before us. And so even when we share our dreams with other people, they might knock it down because they might not have seen it in their own lives. People don't have to be nasty and mean to shoot down your dream, right? It could just be their own lived experience. And so we can honor those experiences and still be like, nah, but I'm still going to go for it. I'm still going to try. And so I just want to make that note. Our limiting beliefs are not just something like, we talked about fear in our last meetup. Fear is something that will, tell you to stop doing something to protect you. It's not trying to hurt you. It's not trying to limit you. It's trying to protect you, right? And so we have to be friends with our fear in order to work through and work with our fear to be brave. And in the same way, our limiting beliefs with money or with business, because we've seen our people struggle so much, it can be really frustrating and feel like you're doing more work than other people just to start a business. But yes, so you bring you to that business. Don't worry about if somebody else is doing it. Like you're the only you that there is. I'm sure there are other people out there doing exactly what I'm doing. And they can't do it like me because they're not me and I'm not like them, so we don't have to compete. It's fine. And there's enough to go around. There is enough to go around. And if you're stuck with an idea, if you have an idea in your mind and you want to share it, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I would love to hear your ideas or maybe where you're stuck in your process of trying to figure out like what to do with your business, and we can talk about it. So yes, all right. So some examples that we talked about before from previous workshops and stuff like that, people were interested in plants. I mentioned maybe having a plant subscription, teaching folks how to take care of their house plants, because people, again, like me, I don't know why, but my plants don't want to live. Like they just refuse to live. But if someone were to be able to like start something where they can teach me how to take care of my plants, I'd be grateful. My friend who works at Thompson Creek, we talked about how Thompson Creek is a business that helps people with like housing stuff. So like improvements on the housing, doors, windows, that kind of stuff. And we talked about how she can create a business being a liaison between the business and the people, because people like me, if I had a house, I don't know the first thing. I don't know if they're getting over on me. I don't know what I should get. I don't know what my options are. But if someone were to break it down to me in like layman's terms, it would make me feel empowered and help me to make a better decision. And because she's a woman, honestly, just being serious, if she's a woman, I would trust her more, because I feel like whenever I go to get my car fixed or, something for the house fixed, I always feel like they can get over on me because I don't know what I don't know. And so that they can, upsell me on everything. I literally went to Jiffy Lube for an oil change. I came out like hundreds of dollars less than I went in. I don't know what happened, but they do stuff like that. So if a Black woman were to be a liaison for me, and there's a need for that, right? I would listen to her. I would believe her. So yeah. So creating your own business, right? So we need to define what you do, who you help, and how, right? So the statement is, I help blank, do blank, by blank. So again, it's I help blank, do blank, by blank. So for examples, right? For photography, for me, I help photographers build their clientele. This is not what I do, but this is just an example. I help photographers build their clientele by teaching them how to market their services. For makeup, just because it just came to my mind, I help Black women learn how to apply makeup that, looks good to them by teaching them in very basic terms, basic ways. For me, I help Black creative women live their dream life by building a creative business and life that they love. So I want you to take time, and I'll say like a minute, just being able to say your mission statement. So and make it clear and to the point and as specific as possible. One thing I need to mention about your audience, right? You need to go deep. You need to if anything about niching, this is something to niche down on, right? And I'm saying it both ways because I don't know how to say it, but niche down, right? So you can't serve everybody. And if you try to, you will serve no one. Like no one will know who you're talking about. Like this is marketing 101. You have to be clear on who your person is and be as specific as that person is. Is this person a woman? If she's a woman, is she Black? Does it matter what race she is? Is she postpartum? Is she, middle-aged? Is she older? Is she a career woman? Is she a stay-at-home mom? Like, who is the person that you're serving? Like, be really specific, because once you figure out who you're serving, then you can really speak to their pain points. Because again, as someone, I don't know, creative person like me, there are specific people I listen to because I'm like, you get it, you understand, because either you know where I am, or you know who you're talking to directly. And yeah, so be really specific about who your people are. So again, I help these people do this by whatever you do. That should be your mission statement. So what do you do? Like, what do you do for, what is your business about? You can say that statement and be very clear and to the point, and if they have further questions, they can ask, but to be very clear about who you're serving, because then they might have people that they can reference to you, and the people know who you're not serving. You also have to be clear about who you're not serving, who you're not for. I literally had a meetup at the beginning of the year, and a white woman in the comment was like, hey, I noticed this says like Black Girl Creative, like, can I come? And I'm like, this is actually a space curated for Black women, like specifically. And, other marketers would be like, oh, well, you're missing out on your opportunity to serve this person. And it's like, no, I know who I'm serving. I know who I'm for. And, I'm sure there are plenty of people who can help her, in her journey. But I'm very clear and unapologetic about who I'm serving and why I'm doing it. So I think it's for the other person, but it is also for you. It's okay that you don't want to serve everybody. That's fine. Like, you have the power to determine who you want to market to. And if other people come along for the journey, fine. So, if let's just say I had this program for teens. I don't know. Like, I'm just going for it. If I had a program for teens, but somebody who's like 25 is like, oh, this actually sounds interesting to me. Like, can I still participate? You can attend, you can see, you know what I mean? Like, you can watch, but this is really for teens. Like, and so who am I to deny someone else's, what they need? Or I might design something for somebody else and serve them in that way. And that's fine. But be very clear and unapologetic about who you serve, because there are people who are looking for you for your specific thing. And they're like, oh my God, this is perfect. This is exactly who I am. But if you're trying to feed everybody, you're going to feed no one. No one's going to listen to you. Okay. So yeah, so I want you to be clear about who you're serving. Be clear on your mission. So again, so people can find you and you can serve them. And again, like I said, you can't serve everybody. If you try to serve everyone, no one will pay attention. So somebody used this example, which I thought was brilliant. If you're in, New York City, Times Square, I mean, pre-COVID, right? If you're there and there's a lot of people there and you're like, hey, no one's going to turn around. Like, or a few people might be like, what? Like, who is she talking to? Right. But if you say someone's name, Jessica, and so all these Jessicas turn around and look at you because like, are they talking to me? It's the same way. Like, this world is noisy. There are a lot of people out here doing a lot of things. You have to be very clear about who you're talking to. I cannot stress that enough. Some examples that you might not even think about, right? Target. Who is Target aimed at? It's not aimed at everybody. Target, they made very clear, Target is aimed at women who are mothers, women who are mothers and want to treat themselves to something nice, right? So when you walk into Target, you don't see men's stuff. Men's stuff is all the way in the back, in the corner somewhere, like tucked away, and it's about this big, right? But the store is built for people, mothers who are either home takers or maybe career women. And so you can see that because when you walk in, it depends on what Target you go to. To my right is like cosmetics and all that stuff, like all that good stuff. To the left is the clothes for the women. In the middle are diapers and things like that to take care of the babies, like kids' clothes, all that good stuff, because they know who they're talking to. And the feel that you get in Target is different than what you get in Walmart. I love Target. When I go to Walmart, I feel chaotic. I feel all over the place. I hate it. Like, it's just too much happening at the same time, right? Starbucks, the same thing. There's a certain kind of person that goes to Starbucks. They're very clear, like they might be coffee connoisseurs or, think that they are coffee connoisseurs, but there's a very specific person that goes to Starbucks. Or Subaru, right? The car. Subaru is very clear that they serve families. Like, and they're unapologetic. Every commercial is about, are your kids safe? Do you know where your kids are? Like, they're trying to invoke fear in these parents to be like, buy our car because we'll keep your kids safe. That's the kind of marketing that they're doing. And it's genius because it sticks with you and they know who their people are and who they are not. I'm not going to go to Walmart for fun, but I will go to Target for fun. And every time I go, they get about, $50 from me. So their marketing is working. So building your actual business, right? The journey to building your business is going to be a lot like a science fair experiment. We talked about this before, right? So the process. So you do observation and questioning, you do the research, a hypothesis, you develop an experiment. Y'all know how it went. If you're traumatized like me, then you do the actual experiments, right? The controlled trials. Then you have the results, you analyze, and then you come to a conclusion. So testing your business is the same way. So before you just jump out there with your offer and be like, yo, I'm offering this, like come out and check this thing, you have to have controlled experiments and test your right subjects. So now that you're clear on who your people are, now you can find those people in your own circle and test your business out on those people. And so the reason why you want to test it out on those people first, or people that you can find, is because one, they love you, right? Hopefully they're going to be honest with you about what they need, what they don't need, and they can show you your blind spots. So you might think that you have everything perfect, you know exactly what you're doing. You need people to show you what you're missing, or like, oh, I have, so it could be, I don't know, it could be like, oh, I'm starting a makeup, just because it's an easy example. I'm stuttering, y'all, excuse me. I have a makeup curating business, right? I'm sending this to other people. Then the person says, actually, I'm looking for makeup that's cruelty-free and that is vegan, right? And so you're like, oh, I never even thought about that. So now they're showing you, oh, actually, what people really need is something that is kind to animals. You know, this is what they're really looking for. What you think that they're looking for is not what they're really looking for. So it's good to have people that you can bounce your ideas off of. And so the example that I can give is much like testing food in a food court at a mall, right? So there's always that person, I mean, I don't know if that's happening now, but like holding out the food and like, hey, do you want to try this? You know, and the idea is to hook you with the food so that you come back. That's the idea. You want to be hooked on the food so that you want the person hooked on the food, like, oh my God, I'm hungry. That actually tastes delicious. And now you're creating a taste in their mouth to be like, you know what? I want to satisfy this taste by getting full off of this food. Or maybe you hate it, and that's okay too. Okay, so all right, so you want to develop a free offer for your people. So something small, you know, to give to people, to let them have a little taste of what you want, right? So think of a way to create a smaller version of your thing, of your business. And you can tell them to do it. You can tell them that it's free, right? You want them to come in exchange for information, because this information is going to be invaluable to you later, right? So you give them your all. You don't hold back anything. Don't worry about, you know, running out of ideas or anything like that. People love giving their opinion, right? And also you show that you actually care about serving them and what they need, not just like what you think they need, not what you think that they want to do, but you're actually focused on serving them as people. So then you have the opportunity to build something around what your perfect audience is looking for. So what your people, again, what you think you're looking for and what they're really looking for is two totally different things, right? So then you can think that you're delivering what they want, but then they might say, this is nice, but I'm actually looking for blank. And so I want to make sure that you're asking someone who actually fits your person, right? Because everybody has opinions, and it's okay that you don't agree with those opinions. If people say, yeah, you know, you're getting 5 products in your makeup box, I need 10. Like, no, you get 5, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to be like, to have a hard stop and be like, no, thank you, I'm not going to do it this way. But thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. And so you can ask a friend, a family member. Make sure it's a safe place, because you don't want to kill your dreams with people who are dream killers and don't care nothing about you. The world can be very cruel. And because this is a very intimate and very sensitive place, you want to make sure that the people are sensitive to that thing. So for a second, just take a second and brainstorm like a free offer that you could offer to someone that could be like a bite size of what you do. And again, being generous sets you apart from everybody else. People want to talk about like, oh, how do I stand out? How do I, you know, make waves? Be generous. Like, just give the stuff away. Because honestly, even this information I'm giving, it's out there, right? It's out there on the internet. You could look up this stuff for yourself. You know what I mean? But my goal is to give you something that you can take at least one thing that you can take away from this time together to apply to your own, starting your own business or your own business that already exists. All right. So now that after this process, you'll get the feedback from people. And again, like I said, be sure that they are people, but test more than one person. You don't just want to test one person, because what they need might not be what somebody else needs, and vice versa, right? So use that information to tweak your business, to tweak it. And so this is just like, again, like the science fair experiment, where it's like, okay, this is how this trial went. It didn't really turn out how I thought it was going to work out. So let me go back and try it again. Let me fix this thing. At the end of our science experiments, when we were children, we had to answer the question, what would I do differently? And so this is the whole process of figuring out what you would do differently. And again, this is before you show it to anybody else but your people. So yes. So I would say do this about like 3 to 5 times. Honestly, like do it 3 to 5 times. just to be able to get enough information and to apply it to your thing so that you can, then we go to the next thing, develop your free offer. All right. Also record what words and language people use, because this is important to marketing and in marketing your thing. So if a person says, I'm frustrated is a feeling, and people buy with their feelings. Like they don't buy like with logic, right? Like again, Target, there's nothing I need in Target, but it just feels good to buy something from Target. I don't know what it is, right? People buy with their emotions. And so not saying that you want to emotionally manipulate people, because there's a difference, but you want to speak to their pain point. You want to speak to their emotion to be like, okay, I am frustrated. This is my solve for my frustration. This person can meet it. So again, we're still in the experimental process, and this is before you actually launch to the public, but you should develop a free offer. So again, choose a group of people that you want to try out on your thing, right? Now that you have all the feedback, all the criticisms, all the good stuff, now here's the thing. And so this should be free, and it's not glamorous. Like, yeah, it's free, but it is necessary in my opinion. So develop a free offer that you cannot resist, that someone cannot resist, right? So sometimes offering your thing for free is no more than like, more than 5 times is necessary, honestly. Like again, with the people that you do the research for behind the scenes, and maybe a couple of times with everybody else. But I don't want you to get in the habit of pricing your stuff for free, because I've done that. It's a trap. It's a trap. So sometimes offering your thing for free is frustrating and it's scary. But the thing is, like, what you have to offer, you're not going to lose. Like people, their information, like I said, is out there. But if you want to help them get their thing, that's what people will pay for. Help them implement it, help them to achieve their thing, help them to, I don't know, get joy from this thing. That's what people pay for. They pay with their emotions. So an example. So as a photographer, when I was first starting out, I did free sessions. I did free sessions with my clients. And that was because I was learning my camera. I was learning the process of actually like the business of photography, like the things I need to get in place. And so one thing that helped me was to build my portfolio, right? So you're not just doing these things for free just because, but you're collecting their reviews, you're collecting their thoughts and their experiences so that you can use to market to your people when you have your paid offer, right? So so that builds your portfolio and your experience, right? So then after a while, then I started charging, okay, I'm gonna do $75 for a photo shoot. That's really, really underpriced, but I did it because I was very nervous about charging. Like something around pricing myself was like, oh God, what if they don't buy it? Oh God, I'm scared. I'm scared that they're gonna reject me, or they're gonna think that I'm money grabbing. But there is value in what I'm doing, obviously, right? People are asking me to take their photos, so I should get paid for it. And that's okay. And I gotta eat, I gotta live. So that's what I did at first. And so then I collect my reviews and then I share them with other people. And by doing it for free, the word of mouth spread fast. And by the time I was charging, they came back to me and was like, hey, I have this friend who wants to do this thing. What are you charging? And I was able to give them my prices. All right. So after all that research has been done, the whole science fair project, and really to be clear, building a business is just like it's just like the scientific method. Even when you think that you have it figured out, you're going to change it. It's always going to be changing. And that's okay. And that's important because you change, your people change. You might have to serve people on a different level, and that's okay. So don't get really tied to an idea you can't change it or anything like that. Things change. Okay. So now we're starting with our free offer, our lead-in. So a lead-in is something that you give someone, like I said, at the food court, like when you go to a mall and they hand out a little chicken, hey, you want to try this? And you taste it and they're like, oh my God, it's delicious. Their hope is that you salivate over that thing and you're like, okay, I want that. I want some bourbon chicken. Like, I don't know why it's always bourbon street chicken, but whatever. So I want some bourbon street chicken. And so you go because your taste has been you've been hooked kind of like a fishing line by them. And you're like, I just want to get that because it's easy. It tastes good. I want it. Right. So in the same way for your own business, you choose a small version of what you already do and you give it away for free, long term, right? So it gains the interest of other folks. It solves one problem for them, one problem. So I don't want to say like you don't want to give way too much. I don't think you can give way too much, but you don't want to overwhelm them, right? You want to be able to give them one thing that they can take away from this thing to be able to apply to their own lives. And so once, oh snap, like this person helped me declutter my closet. Wonderful. Like maybe I need to hire them to declutter my home, right? Or, oh snap, like when you go to the mall, think about this, like when they say, hey, try this fragrance, it's the same idea, like try this fragrance. And like you smell it, oh my God, that smells good. What is that? Like it's to garner your interest. And everybody does not buy from this free offer. And that's okay. That's not the point. The point is really just to, have it in the back of their mind because they might not buy from you that day, but they might be like, you know what, that was actually really good. I might go back and go get that scent or find it somewhere else, you know? So yeah, so the idea is really just to kind of reel you in. Or like my husband will be in the mall and there'll be people with like sneaker cleaner. And my husband, you know, he's not interested in that. He's like, I don't care. My sneakers are sneakers. It's okay. It's all good. But they'll say, hey, let me clean those Jordans for you or whatever. And, you know, he's like, no, thanks. But the idea is that you'll clean the Jordans and I'm like, oh, snap. I love how this, I know nothing about sneakers, by the way, but I love how this looks. I love how this works. Right. And then you're supposed to buy the product because, you know, it's told that we should care about how clean our sneakers are. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. It's the same idea. So again, it doesn't have to be manipulative. It can be really honest and really sincere, and you really serve one person doing one thing so that they hopefully work with you later on. So examples, like I said, is product samples, right? Mini workshops, a podcast, a vlog, a test for a service. When you go to the makeup counter at a place, like they do a little, you know, skin match or something, or like, oh, let me beat one side of your face. So, so it's like that you buy the products, right? Stuff like that. I don't know if they still do that, but I was like, no, y'all not gonna set me up. But anyway, in exchange for the free things, you get their email address, right? So you're not just giving free stuff just away just to be giving it, right? And the reason why you want to get their email address is because, or some way to contact them, is because you need to own your own business information. Now, this kind of talks about Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. They're great platforms, but at any point in time, Instagram can say, you can't be on here no more. Sorry, for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be valid. And then if all your information is on those sites, you lose everything. You lose everything. So it's important for you to have your own website. It's important for you to have your own email address, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be very simple, right? Hey, keep up with me. And one thing that I use is MailChimp, just to be able to keep in contact with people so that they can, you know, talk to me and I can connect with them, even if I take a break from Instagram or Facebook, which I have done for the past month, or I guess this point, like month and a half. I haven't really been on Instagram like that. I've been visiting in and out, but not really there. And I love it because I don't have to be there to connect with people. So there was something that happened to me on Facebook. Somebody broke into my Facebook and hacked it, and I didn't have access to my stuff for like days. And so I couldn't contact anybody that was in my Facebook group or anything like that. It was frustrating, but I was happy that I had their email addresses because I could, if I needed to contact them, be like, hey, not on Facebook right now, but I'm here. So you want to be mindful about that. Yes. Okay. Excuse me, y'all. I don't know what's happening. Don't worry about giving away too much in your bite-sized version. Like think abundantly, right? This world teaches us that there is not enough to go around, that, you know, people will take advantage. And most of the time that's not true. People just want to know. But the folks who are your people will work with you. They will get you. And so like I said before, at the end of this thing, I will offer something. And if y'all don't want to buy, that's totally fine. The goal wasn't just to like, oh, let me make a profit. It's really to help people get started in their business. So I'm not stressed. I'm good. Ultimately, though, the goal is that someone can take something from this and use it to their advantage right away. So if you want to think about it like making deposits into a bank, if you open a bank account, you can't just say, hey, I want $1,000, right? The bank teller's gonna look at you like, girl, you ain't got $1,000. You don't have $1,000, right? In the same way, you have to make deposits into your people so that you'll have something to actually take out. So showing people value, giving people things that are valuable is important for starting your business, because then it shows people that you are generous, that you're not like just money hungry. It shows people that you care about them, right? And once people know that they care about you, once people know that you care about them, then they care about you. That's how it works. So it's the same concept in our own businesses. You want to make deposits into people, whether that's, you know, content, whether that's, and it's not giving away everything for free, not everything. You're just giving away some things for free because you want to give value, you want to serve your people. So this is your time to experiment and taste test all the many things that you want to do. So if you have a million ideas, like if you're like me, I have a million ideas, right? And so I'm like, well, which idea do I pick? Which idea do I choose? This is the opportunity to try everything, do everything, and do a small version where it's not going to burn you out. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, a lot of time, right? Do everything and serve your people, and you will find the thing that people want, that people really gravitate towards. All right, let's move on to getting paid, right? So we have a lot of trauma to work out when it comes to money. I know I do. Feeling like an imposter for charging. Who am I to charge this? What if people don't buy this? What if people pay for it and they feel like, and they discover I'm a fraud, or I don't know what I'm talking about? But the thing is, you wouldn't charge for something you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know that's the case, but something in our mind is really like, and again, it's our fear trying to protect us. Like, you don't want to get out here and take people's money and then they want their money back. You don't want that. Like, it's always this fear around charging. And for me, it also had to do with how we grew up. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. We didn't grow up with a lot of stuff. And sometimes there were some traumatic experiences in our lives that really affected our money. And I don't want to live that life no more. And so for me, it would be easier to not be disappointed and feel rejected by not charging than by doing everything for free. But we know that in order to make change in our lives, in order to make change in our community, we have to charge. We have to charge something, because all money really is showing like, hey, I value this thing. And so if you value this thing, you want to work with me, you want this product, you want this food, whatever it is, that shows people like, oh, I actually value this thing. Let me actually work, with this person, and I'm willing to pay for it. So again, there's also a science around creating the perfect paid offer for your audience. Honestly, it's all about trial and error, right? So wondering if, I know that some people struggle like me, wondering, will people even pay for this? Is this something that people will pay for? People pay for way more, right? Way less for way more. So, I don't know. You think about candy that people buy. There's no nutritional value in candy. However, it tastes good and I enjoy the experience, I'm going to pay for it, right? Or, paying for convenience. For convenience, I could very well, buy land and grow my own food. But, right now I don't have the means, nor do I have the time to do that. So I will go to a grocery store and pay for that. So yes, people have the ability to do things for themselves, but they also want convenience. They also want people to help them along their journey. Like all the stuff that I'm telling you all, I learned from my own experiences. But, what I'm going to offer, it's like, oh, well, if you don't want to have to go through what I went through struggling, one, I'm offering all this stuff to you for free right here. But if you want to work with me through it, then here's the offer. So it's the same kind of example. So it's not glamorous. It is actual work, right? But some people give up here because no one bites their first offer, right? So some people might buy it, some people might not. But it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that what you have to offer is not good. It's not good enough. But you have to take the flop and turn it into information. It's not a failure. It's information. Why didn't the folks sign up for your thing? Were you clear? Were you honest? Were you forthright? Was it too expensive? Was it too cheap? Like, you'll be surprised. Some people won't buy stuff that's too cheap. It's interesting. It's this perceived value of something. What can you do to change your approach or your offer, right? And also keep in mind, there's a study that says people need to hear something at least 7 times before they make a decision to purchase. Now, this is something I had to learn because I'm not a salesperson. I don't like, hey, you need this. You got to do this, right? If somebody tells me no because I hate rejection, I'm just gonna be like, okay, it's a no, and move on, right? But when you're selling your thing, you have to really, some people really forget. And when they said that, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense, because when I only hear something once, it's easy for me to forget about it. Like, I'm thinking about a million things a day, right? So if I forget something, it's not because, oh, I don't want to work with them. Like, oh, snap, I forgot to sign up for this thing. I missed it. Like, so you really have to be unapologetic about being clear about what you're offering. So again, money, like I said, is just an exchange for value. People will pay for what they value. People will pay for what they want. It's just an exchange. That's it. I mean, you can't do everything for free forever because, girl, you got to eat, you got to live, you got to thrive. But what are your blocks around money? I really want you to think about that. Will you burn, like, if you don't work out your blocks around money, you will burn yourself out. You will do anything for a check, right? Some folks won't value free things. It's funny. Some people will not value free things because they think that, oh, you don't value your own stuff. Why would I buy it? Why would I do it? It's so funny to me. Like, and the people who pay usually are more committed to doing the thing. So even in my own experience, like I had this free photo class, and I think it was like 5 weeks long for photography. And it was free. And I offered it because, it was the beginning of COVID and people just needed something to do. So I was like, let's have this free photo class. And at the beginning of the class, I had like maybe 20 people come, right? And then towards the end, only 4 people were consistent with it, right? And then it was funny because I at the end of everything that I do, I ask people, hey, like, what were your experiences? What were your criticisms? What could be improved? That kind of thing. And somebody literally said, I wish you charged at least $100 for this class. And I'm like, what? Like, girl, I was doing it for free. But it really showed me, like, she was like, there's value in what you gave. Like, and I want to give you value for the value that you had to offer. Some people want to like give you value for what you have to offer. We just have to make it available. It's really that simple sometimes. And again, you deserve to be paid for your services. You deserve, and I'm saying this to you as I say to myself, right? Like, you deserve to be paid for what you offer, for the value that you give. Again, Target ain't worried about not charging for their stuff. Why should you, right? As cheap as the clothes are made and stuff like that, they're willing to put that $40 price tag on them clothes, even though they're glorified Walmart. Like, they're willing to put that price on it because they know that people will pay for it. People will value that stuff. And it's about the culture around the business, not just what they're selling. It's about the culture that they're offering as well. So again, you're creating, especially as a small business, you're creating a curated experience for other people by handcrafting things, building from scratch. Target doesn't have to build stuff from scratch, right? But they're willing to charge what they charge. But we're building stuff from scratch. And people asking like, why do Black businesses cost so much? Because it costs so much to run it. It takes so much to run it. You're not just going to a retail store. You're building the stuff from scratch, and you deserve to be paid for that stuff. It's a luxury. Like the things that we create, this is the benefit, right? What we create is a luxury. It's not necessary, right? For some of the stuff that you want to do, like impacting communities, it's necessary. But for makeup, do you need makeup to live? No, you don't need makeup to live, right? Do you need to learn how to take pictures to live unless you're building a photography business? No, like you don't need to. You don't need pictures on your wall to thrive, right? But people are willing to pay for it because it brings value into their lives. So if you're bringing value in their lives, like there's some things that should be free in my mind. Healthcare, right? I mean, healthy foods should be cheaper than what they are. Like housing should be free in my mind. And that's just not the world that we live in, but so be it. But beyond that, what we provide is luxury. It's luxury. And so people are willing to pay for luxury. And so why can't you price your stuff for the luxury that you provide, Again, if you want to give things away, you can be more generous when you have more money coming in. Like there are some projects that I want to do for free, but it's going to take money. It's going to take capital to get it started, or connections, or resources. And if I'm not allowing myself to take that resources in, then I can't impact change in my community. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. But we can start small, right? Because for a lot of us, we have a lot of blocks around charging. I don't know what to charge. What do I do? How do I do this? I feel you. So now that you've done your research, your trials, your free offer, it's time to develop a paid offer. So I would say that there are small offers, medium offers, and like large offers, which is like premium offers. But like starting out, you should research your field, research people who work in your field, because I really had to when I was charging myself $75 for a photo shoot, and I looked online and people were charging $300. I was like, what am I doing? I am shooting myself in my own foot, being burnt out, tired, wondering why I can't pay bills because I'm not willing to price myself as the majority prices themselves, right? And so, yeah, just starting out, I don't have to charge. So say if it was 500, I could start charging out by 250. You know what I mean? Like I would say whatever you are offering, if you're just starting out, charge like 1/3 of what the market is charging. And this is also assuming that you have other income coming in, because if you don't have other income coming in, you might need to charge like 1/2 or maybe like 3/4 of what other people are charging. But I don't want to put all that pressure on your thing yet. So start with like 1/3, right? And get comfortable. Maybe like take like 10 clients, or like a limited time offer, like to garner interest. Then moving on to the medium-sized price things, you can go to like 1/2 to like 3/4 of what other people are charging if you're still uncomfortable with it. Now, some people are just comfortable, like just charge what you want to charge, and that's fine. But this is for people who struggle with charging themselves, right? And so they need to be like, well, I'm cheaper than this other person. I don't think that you should use a mindset to charge, but if you need to use it, it's okay to use it in the beginning. Then you have like premium prices, right? And so this is usually like market value and or above, right? And so there are people who are paying $500 for a photo shoot, but there are other people who are paying $5,000. You know what I mean? And so you really have to determine what's comfortable for you, and what works for you and your lifestyle. Because yeah, if you're not living in $1 million mansion, you don't need to charge $1 million for a wedding, for a wedding. But if you have that flexibility, and that's if you want to charge less. If you're living in an RV like we were, you know what I mean? I probably don't need to take on, and I don't want to take on weddings. I don't like shooting weddings anymore, but I'm grateful I'm not doing that anymore. But weddings, I have to charge a higher premium because it's more work. But now that if I lived in an RV, it's less money that I have to pay for things. So I don't have to worry about taking on jobs I hate just to live. I hope that makes sense. And so what's funny about that is that some people judge the perceived value of something by the cost of it. If it's too low, folks won't buy because its value isn't being properly communicated, and they think like, oh, well, if it's that cheap, I don't need that, right? If it's too high, then you price people out. So there's really a science about figuring out what is good and what is too much, what's too little. So yes. And so we also have to figure out who your people are. So if your demographic is underserved and underprivileged people, then you have to understand that you might have to charge less. You might have to be able to serve them and give them what they need. Or your business might partner with somebody else who is serving those other people. So figuring out what works for you, instead of just like going straight to the people, go to the people who serve those people. You know what I mean? And so you really have to figure out who your people are, what they can afford, what their life looks like. Because if you're charging, underserved families $5,000 for a photo shoot, you're probably not going to get that many clients because they don't have $5,000 just in reserve to spend for pictures. You know what I mean? So you really have to be cognizant and conscious of your people and what you're trying to do and who you're trying to serve. If it doesn't make sense, please let me know and I'll go back over that. But yes, so I recommend just start with the smallest offers first. Especially if you're trying to build your confidence around charging things, start small, then move up and learn and be okay with like, okay, for the first 3 months, I'm gonna charge this price, have a time end. Okay, price is going up. The next, 3 months, I'm charging this, then the next 3 months, so that at the end of the year, you'll actually be able to make money to live. So yes. So again, like I said, pricing your business, looking back at the statement at the beginning of the culture you want to create in your family, in your home, in your business, really think about what it's going to take to sustain that life. Really figure that out. Write down every single bill, every single debt that you have, if you're interested in paying off your debts, every single thing that you want to do for fun, for leisure, and really figure out your pricing around that thing, because you don't want to be working for pennies just to break even. In the beginning, you might break even, but then eventually you should do more than just break even. So, and if you're not making the right amount of money, I will tell you, you will resent your business and your clients. That happened to me. I was burnt out with photography. I was charging too little and I was burnt out and I was resenting all the jobs that I was taking. And I was like, you know what? I need a break. I need to like recalibrate because it's not my clients. It's not my clients' fault that I'm undercharging myself. You know what I'm saying? So yes. All right. So level one of getting paid is breaking even. Breaking even is like, how much does it cost to actually run your business? How much does it cost to run your business? Software, supplies, websites, all the good stuff. That's breaking even. Level two is making a livable profit. So like with a side business, right? You're kind of in side business status where you're able to pay like a bill, like groceries or something else. Like you're able to make some sort of profit from your business. Level three is like you're able to go full-time or you're able to start another business. Because some people don't want, like me, I don't want to do one thing for all my streams of income. I'm gonna do multiple things. So for me, once I get to the stage of side business for one thing, I'm moving on to the next business model because I know what I can take. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to be burdened, and I need variety in my life. And so that's something that I'm very like clear about. And so I'm willing to start another business doing something else I love, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. So yes, at this point, you may want to see how you can scale it to become your full-time, or again, like I said, start another stream of income the same way you started this one. So I like variety and choice, like I said, and I like that I don't have to put all my eggs in one basket to make all of my money. Level three, like I said, is full-time. So like I said, you're able to cover all your expenses in your business, but also your expenses in your life. And so to get to this point, you really just have to reverse engineer your prices to fit your lifestyle. So if your lifestyle is $30,000 a year, let's just use this because it's a flat even number, $30,000, right? You have to figure out how to either, just be honest, either tailor back some of that or figure out how to make at least $30,000 a year to survive. Now, if you want to thrive, then you need to reverse engineer to figure out how to make more money so that you have some cushion, some margin, some savings, you know what I'm saying? Some fun money. And I really feel like even the $30,000 should be, what's included in that should be your fun money, your fun budget, all the stuff that you want to do for leisure, that should be included too. So you're reverse engineering to live the life that you want to live. And so once you really realize, and I made a video about this on my YouTube channel, like once you realize that you actually don't need to make $1 million to be happy, to thrive, it's easier to make that money. But you have to figure out what kind of lifestyle. And if you want to live a lifestyle that's $1 million a year, right, then, hats off to you. It's just more work. But really determine what you need to survive. And then beyond that, what you want to do, to thrive. Because I'm not interested in working all year round. I'm not to support a lifestyle that is clearly unsustainable, because it's unsustainable to me in my culture, in my life. So yes. Then level four, like I said, is abundance and comfort. So you're able to afford the dream life that you wrote down earlier in this workshop. You're able to give more to more people. Like you're able to, again, I'm really about giving. I want to make so I can give to other people, whether that's time, energy, resources. You have energy and time, you have materials to run your business, and you have as much as you'd like to save, So a few notes on pricing your business. You need to determine who your target market is, their demographic. And like I said, and determine how much money they have. Because if you're starting, like, again, if you're doing resume services for folks right out of high school or right out of college, understand that they're probably broke or re-entering society. If they were incarcerated, they're probably broke. They probably don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So they probably don't have a lot of money to pay for that kind of service. You know what I mean? So you have to consider that when you're pricing yourself. But if you're creating like an affordable community yoga class, like for people in underserved communities, in neighborhoods, you might have to lower your price for the class. But if you have more people join, then you're taken care of, you know what I mean? Or partner with another program that's serving that underserved community. And so you can work out a deal with them. But if you're curating a subscription box for lawyers for their mental health, I don't know what lawyers do, but if it's something specific to them, you know that they might be making more money. Or if you're serving doctors, right? Something that serves doctors, you know that they're probably making more money, right? So you can charge more, you have that freedom and flexibility. But it's really important to be realistic with your prices, with who you're serving and all that good stuff. So again, research your market, look up other businesses, not to compare yourself to them, but use them as a model, and then raise or lower the prices as needed based on who you're serving. And so you don't, like I said, you don't have to make $1 million to be a successful creative entrepreneur. You don't. Again, ask yourself the question about how much you really need to live and how much you really need to thrive. The whole point is not to create a business that re-enslaves us, right? We don't want to be, we're not trying to be slaves. I want you to be a slave to the dollar. I don't want you to be a slave to productivity. Your number is nothing. We're trying to design a life that serves us well and allows us to have choices, free time, and generosity to others. And so we are not what we create. We are not what we produce. Like we are not that. We just are. And we have value inherently because we exist, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting $1 million if you want it. Like I said, just ask yourself why you want that $1 million. For me, it's a trauma response. I don't want to struggle no more. I don't want, I hate seeing my family suffer. And to me, if I had $1 million, I would be able to serve so many people, or I can build a business that can make that money for me, not necessarily $1 million, but money that I can be generous with. You know what I mean? So be clear on why you want that money, how much you want, and the reason behind that. Make a plan for your money, right? And I feel like you should write this down now. That's what I've been doing. It really helps you, especially those who struggle with pricing themselves. It helps you to see, no, I need money for this thing. And I deserve to be paid for this thing, right? So how will you use it? How will you use the money? Be specific. How will you be generous with it? You don't want to make money just to hoard it, right? You want to make money to serve your people. So what will you do to give to other people? Whether that's resources, houses, you know what I mean? Cars, whatever it is. What are you going to use that money for? Make a plan for yourself. How will you define productivity, right? Productivity could be taking a nap. Productivity could be resting. It could be research, right? Don't let the world define it for you, because you will be always chasing the wind, always. Set clear boundaries in your work life and your money. My goal is, for example, if I only need $30,000, if I made $30,000, I have room to rest, and I'm resting until the next time I need to make money. You know what I mean? That's the kind of life I want to create for myself. And set this up so you're not, like I said, chasing the wind. Have benchmarks that you are not have benchmarks so that you're not obsessed with success, that you actually miss your success and opportunity. There's so many times that we're chasing, I want to be successful, and you're already successful now, but you can't revel in it because you're too worried about chasing the next thing or the next big thing. Knowing what enough is important for you. So let's talk marketing. And we're almost done, you guys. I think we're making good time. Okay, let's talk marketing. So marketing is this big thing that people are overwhelmed with. They're like, oh my God, what is marketing? I'm so confused. How do I market this thing? Blah, 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 right? Marketing can sound really intimidating, but ultimately all marketing is just being empathetic towards your people, just speaking to your people. That's all marketing is. You being in the right place, the right time, with the right people, telling them the right thing. And so a lot of people use tactics that I don't agree with to buy their things. And because I don't like manipulating people. I just don't. People use scarcity tactics, oh, there's only 4 more left, right? Knowing that they have an abundance in the back room, right? And so they try to create this feeling of oh, if I don't get it now, I'm never going to have it. There's fear tactics. If you don't get this, you'll never be successful, right? People use that in a lot of clothing, or a lot of even sadly, some makeup things. I love Ulta Beauty because what I've seen in my own, I just like going in there, right? Because I don't know what to buy, but I like going in Ulta Beauty because it seems that they value all kinds of beauties, all different kind of beauties, right? And Target is the same way. Their photos are not photoshopped from what I've seen. I've seen stretch marks, I've seen hair, I've seen all that good stuff, freckles. It's beautiful. And for me, that kind of marketing resonates with me because I'm a real person. I'm not a model. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to be perfect. I want to be happy to be myself. So fear tactics, shame tactics, right? You'll never be pretty if you don't buy our makeup. Your kids will hate you if you don't buy this toy, that kind of stuff. Competition tactics, right? Be better than this person, or by buying this thing, this gym membership, right? Be better than them, go harder, earn your sleep, earn your rest, right? I don't agree with any of that. That's kind of why I haven't subscribed to any CrossFit gyms, because I'm just not interested in competing with other people. Just show me what to do, help me, and move on. To me, it feels manipulative to me to do this. I'd rather just nourish my people Be honest and allow them to make the right decision for them. And if I'm not the right person, I have to trust that God's going to give me the right people. That's just how I feel. And to me, it's a tool of white supremacy, just going to be clear, to make someone feel less than, to purchase something that will make them feel more worthy. Like, we look at consumerism in this country, a lot of it is because people feel like they need more to be more. And I don't want to perpetuate that thing. I don't want to perpetuate that. I just want to add value to people. Like, and if you find it valuable, wonderful. If you don't, wonderful. That's fine too. And you really have to remove yourself from your offer, from the fact that people might not buy from you. It has nothing to do with your worth or your value. Really, just some people don't have it. Some people don't have the time. Some people are working through their own mental blocks. Like, sometimes it's not about your pricing. It's really about their own mental blocks around, like, dang, I can't spend that money because, what if I don't make it back? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff like that. So yes, you don't need to prove your value to somebody else. That's my whole point, right? You are valuable. What you have is valuable, and your people will find you. So to me, I'm just going to be honest. I feel like the best marketing is word of mouth. I feel like the music I listen to, the food I eat, the food I try, I was very picky. I'm recovering. I was very picky about what I was eating. And it wasn't until my friends were like, hey, try this. Or my husband was like, try this. Or my mom was like, try this. That I was like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty good. I'm going to listen to them more than I'm going to listen to anybody else outside of me. So word of mouth is everything. That's why it's really important in the beginning to get your reviews, to get your feedback and all the other stuff from other people, so that they can tell other people too, so that their stuff can be shown. Get your testimonial so that you can put on your website, like, hey, did this for this person. And like, okay, if that person can do it, I can do it. They see themselves in other people. So it's important to spread yourself through your own people so that they can tell their people about you. Okay, so questions you should ask yourself about marketing. And again, I'll share this in the chat as well. Who are you talking to, right? You can't, like I said, you can't talk to everyone. Be as specific as possible. What do they need? What are they worried about? Where do they hang out? Like, where are they at? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they listening to podcasts? Are they in none of those places? Are they at the coffee shop? Where are these people at, right? That's the most important question. What are they searching for? Like, when they type in Google, what are they looking up? Like, how to apply makeup. I keep using this example because it's just easy. How to grow houseplants. How to build a garden, outside when you live in an apartment, stuff like that. Like, what are they searching for? And be as specific as possible. How can you meet those needs, right? What problems are you going to solve for them? And again, the only way that you can figure this out is by action. It's not enough just to write down your ideas. You really just have to try stuff. Like, literally, you got to try everything. Like, where can I find this stuff? So for this meetup, for example, right? I posted it on the group that we have for Black Girl Creative. I posted it on a meetup. I posted it on Eventbrite. And if I was brave, right, I would have posted it on Instagram. I would post it on Instagram and Facebook. And so literally, I find that more people come from the group, come from meetup, than did Facebook or Instagram, right? Because people that I follow on Instagram and Facebook, sometimes they're not my people. They're just my friends and my family. And so they're not, they're like, oh, okay, like, I love you, but I'm not a creative, or they don't think they are, or I'm not trying to start a business. And so being on there, it's like, oh, well, I love you. I might come out to support, but I'm not going to, do your thing. Or I love you. I'm going to come out to the pop-up or whatever you're having, but I'm not going to buy anything because I'm not your audience. And sometimes our audience is not our family and friends. And that sucks. It's painful sometimes, but it's important to recognize it. It's not a rejection of you. They just might not be your people. And that's okay. So yes, so the important thing about marketing is creating a world around your product, right? So as a photographer, my message is about capturing the beauty of folks as they are, not with Photoshop, not with like all these fancy poses. So I will market on Instagram to people who I want to feel real in their photos. Like, I want them to feel real, like real people. I love taking pictures of parents chasing their kids around because, they're running around with a diaper in their hand or something. Like, these moments that people will forget once these kids get older. Yeah, it's nice to have the photo on the wall of like the pristine family, and we're very dignified. But let's be honest, like, raising kids is messy. You know what I mean? And so I want to share those messy photos. And so people know that about me. I want to capture the authentic person that they are. And so I do this by posting pictures that reflect the customers I want to receive. So on Facebook and Instagram, I might post something, pose for myself, right? Like, oh, that was nice. But for the most part on my business photo Instagram, it's like, hey, shot this headshot of my husband in our living room, or in my office. There's like behind me, there's a paper, like a backdrop for my photo shoots. But yeah, like, I shot this picture of my husband, and this is how he looks. There's no Photoshop. It's just him, like, just straight on. Like, so it can tell the story of him, right? And so in the same way, I don't want to put out what I don't want. And by deciding, like literally by deciding who I want, I have to be clear on who I don't want and not market to those people, because I'm not JCPenney. I'm not out here just trying to, get a check and just take some cute pictures. No, I want to tell a story with my photos, and it's okay that I might not attract everybody. So again, if I'm making sense, please let me know. If I'm not, you can ask a question. It's all good. So yes, so it requires me to attract my people. I have to do the work to attract them. Okay, I'm excited about these questions. I love these questions. Okay, so different levels of marketing, right? So like I said, word of mouth is my favorite. It's the best, like period, hands down. But again, you want to create a world around your thing. So even if you're selling makeup, right? What could you post on your Instagram if Instagram is your way to go? If you're selling makeup for women who want to feel beautiful and who they are, who don't feel like they have to get like all this work done to their face, or like, beat their face, crazy, or like to the gods, as people say, like, how would you post something about that around the world you want to create? So you want to think about some pillars in your own business. So maybe for a makeup business like Ulta, right? Ulta is a perfect example. They're about beauty, enhancing the beauty that you already have, not about covering it up and creating something totally new, right? So that's what I get when I walk into the store. Like, it's like, oh, you're already beautiful. Let's figure it out, right? When I go into MAC, I feel totally different. I don't know if there's any MAC people here, but I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's very dark in here. Like, what am I doing? Ulta is very much like, there's light, hey, you need help. Like, let me help you do this thing. It's a totally different vibe. And so Ulta, like their pillars, what I would pull out, if I'm not their marketing person, but it seems to be self-love, self-care, beauty, right? In every shape, every size, every shade, every kind of body type. And like love for other people. I don't know, like an ease, right? An ease and comfort, because I don't feel overwhelmed when I go into Ulta. People aren't hounding me down like, hey, like, as I feel like, even at Sephora, I feel that way. I'm like, no, thank you, please. Like, you look beautiful. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And so in Ulta, I feel a lot lighter going into that store. So in the same way, you have to figure out what your pillars are in your own business. And so with that, right, like you would say, oh, okay, if these are my pillars, then I'm going to post or post content around these pillars. So about if I was Ulta's IG handle people, right? I'm going to post pillars about, or post about self-love and about beauty, and how beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. I might have like a little documentary series to go along with it, or a little podcast to go along with talking about people's beauty. I might, have a little show on Instagram TV or whatever on YouTube talking about people's beauty, that kind of thing. So going with that. And so you see stuff like that, even with like Shea Moisture. I don't know what they're doing now, but like they went through this phase where they were like, oh, what's your story? And that kind of thing, like, the story for other people. So it's more than just about the product. It's about the message. It's about the pillars of it, and then building a world around that thing. Okay, so content marketing is a thing. So again, that's like vlogging, podcasting, Instagram, talking to a specific person about a specific thing and answering their questions or worries that they might have around that thing. There's community marketing. So finding communities where your people hang out, right? Hey, can I join this group? Can I post here? Can I share this? Like, oh, this is in line with the people that I want to serve. What about this thing? Or actually going to physical places like, hey, you're serving underserved Black, teens. I would love to come in here and talk about self-love and beauty and loving other people, stuff like that. So people have already created some communities for you, so you don't have to do it yourself, and sometimes it will cost you to start a community yourself. And if you want to, we can talk about that later. But it just takes some work sometimes. So challenges, you can do challenges, like a free challenge around something that you're doing, just to garner some interest, like, hey, a self-love challenge. If I was Ulta, like a self-love challenge, take a picture and post it and use a hashtag, And then at the end, you could be like, oh yeah, I'm selling this product or whatever. Like, I'm selling this product or the service. But again, like I said, the best type of advertisement in marketing will always be word of mouth. People trust their friends more than you. And think about the products that you use. Like I said, the music you listen to, the food you eat, like the places that you go, the places that were recommended by people you trust because they trust them. But again, with marketing, you have to tell a story. You have to tell a story with your marketing, because you have to get people to learn about you, to like you and trust you. I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's true. Like, think about building a relationship with a friend. You don't just off the bat, unless you're weird like me, like, let's be besties, right? You're usually like, oh, what is this person about? What do they do? Let's hang out. Like, okay, now I'm getting a feel for them. This is who they're, okay, this is my people. Like, this is a part of my people, right? It's the same thing with the business. Like, you have to like, hey, this is the story behind this. This is who I am. This is my ethic. This is what I believe. And then move on from there. And then they start to build rapport with you. And therefore they're more likely to purchase from you. It's the same example. So again, one last thing I'm gonna say, people buy, like I said, people buy with their emotions, not their pockets. Like, yes, if something costs $500 and they ain't got it, they're not gonna buy it, and that's fine. But more than likely, people buy with their emotions. You have to find a way to, we all find a way to afford something that we truly want when it's in our heart, right? And so you have to make the customer the hero of their own story. Like, hey, work with me and you'll get X, Y, and Z. Like even some alcohol, right? For those of you who drink, if you don't, that's fine. You go to the bar, to me, some alcohol just tastes the same. I don't get it. But what they're doing is selling a lifestyle. Like you look at these fancy, there's a cicada on my window, it threw me off. But you look at these fancy bottles of, I don't know, is Ciroc fancy? I don't know, y'all. Belvedere. Me and my friend were talking about that yesterday. Belvedere. Like, to me, all vodka is rough. Like, I just don't like it. It feels like a scratchy throat. I don't know. It's just something about it I just don't like. And so even if it's Ciroc, if it's Rail, if it's in a plastic bottle, it all tastes the same to me. But there are some people who purchase those things, purchase higher quality things because of the texture and the quality, yes, but also because of the lifestyle they're selling. So you look at Ciroc, like what is Ciroc selling, right? Maybe because, P. Diddy is on it, he's selling luxury and accessible luxury and like, oh, I'm in my tuck suit with my bow tie untied and I'm surrounded by women and I don't know, like he's selling a story. He's putting these people in that story. People want to be like him. So they purchase the liquor. Like that's how things are sold. And so in the same way, you have to do the same thing with your own thing. I don't agree that you should manipulate people and lie to people, but just be honest to be like, hey, I really have something I think you would like. I really have something I think that would benefit you. So examples, like I said, with the makeup subscription box that I mentioned before, right? The story could be confident in your makeup choices and learn how to apply makeup that's fun and no fuss, right? For photography, see yourself again in photos as beautiful as you truly are, not as somebody wants you to be, right? Because you're beautiful enough right now. Target, right? Take care of your family and buy yourself something special because you deserve. Like this is Target's messaging to women. And so again, what is the story of your business and offer? What is the story of you? Like, what is your story? And again, it connects with folks on a soul level to be able to really get in their hearts, to get them to like you, to get them to know the true you. Be honest. Don't be someone that you're not, right? Be truly who you are, and then make the offer. Once you build that relationship. Sorry, I stutter sometimes. Okay. So as I mentioned before, in the beginning of this, I wanted this information to be available to you for free. I will be sending out the replay of this. So if you came late, if you missed anything, if you had to leave early, it's all good, no worries. But I wanted to give you something so that you can apply today to your own creative entrepreneurship journey, right? But you don't have to go it alone. And so I do have an offer if you want to work with me. I have no doubt that you can do this by yourself. I believe that it can be done because I've done it. It's possible. But if you want to work with me, there's two options that are available to you. So starting June 1st, I'm starting a 16-week intensive for aspiring creative entrepreneurs and those who want to thrive in their business and journey with me. It's like a mastermind experience. So in that, you will get not only the content for 16 weeks, and after this, we'll get to the questions and to the Q&As. I haven't forgotten about that. But during the 16 weeks, you'll get the information sent to you every single week. We'll meet twice a week to really work through like your blocks, work through your questions, work with your stuff specifically. And we'll also mastermind together. And I'll also have some of my friends who are creative entrepreneurs, which I'm so excited about this, y'all. So my friends are creative entrepreneurs, and I'm going to have them come in and share their own experiences, answer questions for you all. Maybe they're doing something that you want to do. They'll be willing to offer some support and ideas for you. And yeah, and so, like I said, we start June 1st. So I'm closing off registration next Sunday. Yes, next Sunday. Just because I want all of us to start on the same page, be on the same page together. Yeah, and like I said, the scarcity thing, I'm only taking 20 people because I don't want to overwhelm myself. I want to be sure that I'm serving other people to give them what they need, what they need to thrive. And I can't do that with like 50 people in one place. It's not me. I like intimate experiences better. And there are two options. So the first one is $247 a month for 4 months, right? $247 a month for 4 months. And that's for the duration of the course. And so we meet together, we build a business together, we work together. You give your examples to people of your business. Like people are willing to try your stuff out for free so that you can get feedback and some information that you need and all that good stuff. And so, yeah. And the second option is $97 a month for 4 months. And this is just for the course information. So you're still going to get it every single week, like the information every single week. But this is more for people who want to like kind of go on their own speed, which is totally fine. It's all good. And people who just kind of want to take their time with it, because it's 16 weeks, even though it sounds like intense, it's really, we're going to take our time through. That's why it's 16 weeks to really like build out a business that is profitable, but also that build out a life that is profitable and sustainable to you. So yeah. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. It's no pressure. But yes, but I will be closing registration this Friday. So yeah. All right. So the promise of this whole thing, right, is to help you clarify, start, and make money from the gifts and treasures that are already inside of you, right? So again, like I said, we'll take it slow, build the foundations, go deep together. And so you're here to make a difference, you know what I'm saying, while making an impact, while making income. Like it's possible to do all of that and by one person at a time. And so like I said, the first one is $247 a month for 4 months. And then the second one is $97 a month for 4 months. All right. So, okay, so I'm gonna look at the question and answer. Oh, let me share the link if you're interested in it. And we'll answer the questions. So I had some people ask questions beforehand about what to do. So on the meetup thing, I said, hey, if you have any questions about this, please feel free. I don't know if anybody is here that left questions, but I'll answer them. Yes. So it says, one of the questions says building a website. How do you build a website? I said, I use Squarespace. That's the website that I use. It's really easy. It's just drag and drop. Okay, I put the link in the description if you're interested. But I use drag and drop stuff. So yeah, it's really simple. I don't know a lot of coding and all that good stuff. And I'm sure there are other websites to use out there. But yeah, Squarespace is easy for me. Somebody asked about packaging. My recommendations for packaging is just use simple packaging just starting out, right? So the quality is in what you're actually creating, not the box. And I know that boxes are pretty, but at the end of the day, people are just gonna throw it away. People are just gonna throw away the box. So I would wait until you actually make profit and make enough profit where you can spend on packaging your thing. And then then create a package that's aesthetically pleasing. But first, starting out, like what's important is what is in the box. Like, what are you selling? What are you providing? And you can also like make the inside of the box beautiful. You can make it special and make it pretty by doing it yourself, DIY. And you should also consider the cost of shipping with packaging. So either you can include it in the price of what you're selling, or you can make people pay depending on where they're living. So, you know, mailing something down the street versus Alaska are two totally different prices, right? So you want to consider that in the price of your business. Somebody asked, how many paintings should I have before selling? And I would say at least have like 10 different designs. 5 is okay too, but 10 different designs, it gives enough variety, but not too much to overwhelm you or other people. Now, if you give people too many options, they're overwhelmed, they won't pick anything. Like if they're overwhelmed, they won't choose anything. So just enough variety, keep it simple, or make a series. Like maybe every quarter you change the paintings that you put up, the paintings that you share. So yeah, so if this answered your question, I hope it did. And so we'll get into the Q&As that are in the chat. I think we're making good time, you guys. All right. Questions. Okay, question. Oh, yes, absolutely. Can you put the 5 pillars in the chat, please? Absolutely. Okay. So the 5 pillars of Black Girl Creative, I think you're talking about. It is creativity, community, holistic. Sorry, I know I was probably talking fast. Well-being, storytelling, and generosity or giving. Yay. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, that's okay, Cherie. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so question. Okay. Yay. I'm glad that you went to Largo. I didn't know that, Joy. Oh, y'all can talk to if y'all want to. But yes, I want to build a business to reclaim my time and create the kind of life I want to model. Yes. I started my biz so that I could work on varied projects, on new things, and have additional checks coming in. Absolutely. That was a question. Okay, question. As a multi-passionate person, how do you organize your time to not feel overwhelmed? Listen to me, okay? Being overwhelmed is like my specialty. So it's really a learning experience. I have made peace with the fact that I can do everything, just not at the same time in the same capacity, right? So I have multiple things that I want to do. And so if I want to, just like how I talked about, I don't want one business to bring in all the money for me. I'm adding variety to my life, but I know that it's going to look different. So the idea is like, if I have a plate, right? If a plate, I can put food on my plate, right? But I can't put too much of one food and not get everything else. So in some seasons, I might have more greens than potatoes. I might have more potatoes than chicken. I might have more chicken than, I don't know, carrots, whatever it is that you're eating, whatever your things are. And so really it's about determining what season of life you're in right now, and then really working with that. What I like to do is, I've said this before, is give myself 90-day projects. 90-day projects, it gives me enough time to do it. And it also gives me enough time to change my mind if I want to, or add some variety to my life. So so that's what I do for multi-passionate organization, if you want to call it that. It's just really just understanding that I am finite. My energy is finite. I don't have energy for everything. And I really have to make the important decision of knowing in what season I am and what thing I'm working on in that season, and being okay with that. And then also being okay with changing my mind. Variety is a spice of life. Okay. What I'm doing today might not be what I'm doing a year from now. And that's all right. So I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, you can unmute and ask more questions if you need to. It's all good. Or you can type it, it's fine too. Candace says, what do you do if you have too many ideas? Yes. Okay. So if you have too many ideas, literally you just, and I know this sounds crazy. I know it sounds like oversimplified. You got to pick one. Like you have to pick one. So like as a, it doesn't mean that you have to stop doing the things, right? But as a business, right? You have to verify and validate your idea. So you can't just come out the bat like, I'm having this and this and this and this and this, right? Like I said, every season has a thing. So if you have a lot of ideas, I would say write down every single idea that you have, right? Looking at that list, figure out which one feels like, literally, don't overthink it. Like which one feels the easiest to access right now with what you have, right? The one that you don't have to take classes for, the one that you don't have to like buy all this product for, the one that is more accessible right now. Start with that, start building on that thing, and then do that thing. Or the one that feels more alive. Like, it's like, yeah, we could do this, but there's some things that I write down, like I could do that, but I don't really want to do that right now. Don't do that. Like do the one that inherently feels good and the one that is easiest to access right now, if that makes sense. And again, if it doesn't, you can you can ask again. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Yay. All right, let's see. Wait, what happened? Okay. Question. How do you work through self-doubt after you face rejection? Listen, or things are moving at the speed you would like? Yes, this is a great question. Understand that the self-doubt is understandable, because we talked about this last time about fear. It's the same thing. Like your fear is literally trying to save you from what you have already experienced. So the self-doubt is not something you should judge. It's not something that you should just try to like, wash away. It's like, no, this happened before and I'm fearful that it could happen again. And so one, honoring that and being like, okay, that's okay that happened, but also understanding that you probably will fail. Like you probably, you probably will fail, and failing is not bad. Like failing is not, what's the word? Is not the end. There's another word I'm looking for, but it's not the end. Failure is just information. So even if you doubt yourself after facing rejection, figure out a way to do it in a way that's less painful if you're rejected again. So what's an example? If I'm here and I'm like, hey, like just what I just offered, right? Hey, and nobody shows up. It's like nobody signs up. It's like, dang, the information is no one signed up, right? And so the fear could be, I'm not going to offer nothing else ever again because like this sucks and I don't like being rejected and people think I'm stupid or silly or whatever. Or it could be like, maybe just people don't have access to the funds right now. Maybe people don't have the capacity for it right now. Really meeting that fear and that with truth, with kindness and truth. Like it has no bearing on you. It has nothing to do with you and what you have to offer. It's really about the other person. And so if it's about the other person, we can't judge ourselves based on what other people are experiencing or feeling. You know what I mean? So yeah, how I work through self-doubt, honestly, I talk to my friends, I cry, I write down in my journal that I'm afraid, I write that I'm doubtful, I'm honest with my feelings, but I'm also giving space to myself to be like, that sucked, and I'm gonna try again. Once I'm strong enough to try again, because rejection can be like an injury, right? Like it's just like an injury. Like you're not gonna, if you broke your arm, you're not gonna, oh, well, tomorrow I'm gonna go out there and throw baseballs. No, like you're gonna give yourself time to heal. And that's important to get around people who actually care about you, who love you, and who support you and honor you. So sometimes life blows, and you got to make room for life to blow. And when you feel strong enough, then, and the only way to get strong enough is to try small things. Like literally what is the smallest thing that you can offer and do to build up your confidence? That's what I do. Like, hey, I got this free workshop. If nobody comes, it's not the end of the world. I'm not losing anything. You know what I mean? People can show up. Or, hey, I'm going to talk to my friend about this thing. Like, because I love them, I care about them, they care about me. And we can work through this thing together. Oh, does that make sense? Does that? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because honestly, like there are times I'm still working through, I'm still working through my own self-doubt. I doubt a lot. So yeah. And because of previous experiences, and it's literally like a daily work, if not a moment by moment work. Yes, so someone asked for the course, my speakers, what type of businesses do they own? Okay. So some of them are Black women creatives. Some of them are educators, but they're creative in that they have like subscription boxes. Some of them cook. What else? Some of them teach other people. So and some people have products. So there are other women that I know who will come and talk about their experiences. So yeah. Yes. All right. So Joyce says, I didn't see the 5 pillars come up in the chat. Can you? Oh, I'm sorry. Technology. All right, everyone. I'll send it to like one person. Anyway. Thought it was just me. No, it's not just you, it was me. I apologize. Oh, thank you, Marquita. I didn't even see this. Okay, cool. So yes, if anyone has any other further questions, you can ask them. This is a safe space. I know we're starting to wrap up, but that's all I have for today. If you were able to get something from this, please let me know. Like if there's something else that you wanted to learn that I didn't go over, please share it. I would love to hear your constructive criticisms. Do you also do private coaching? I do private coaching. Let me send my Calendly. Calendly. I'll send it in a oh yay, I'm glad it was great. I'll send it in an email with the replay of this too, because my computer, for those of you who don't know, my computer is like was totally messed up for like a week, and I lost like, you know how your computer remembers everything? I really had to like reteach my computer everything. So I will send it. I won't waste your time, but I'll send it in a replay of this video for sure. But yeah, any other questions? Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm glad, Marquita. Yay. Oh, thank you, Kelly. I'm glad it was great. So hopefully you're able to take something. Joy said this was inspiring. Everything you said resonated with me. Yay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, great. So I'm hoping that you can take something from this. I will send the replay out. So if you missed anything, if you were late, if you were early, or maybe if I was just talking too fast or you missed a point, you know, because I can talk very fast. Oh. Yay, Tamisha. Sorry. We're just wrapping up, but I was saying connected to audio. Okay. I was saying that if anybody has any other questions or anything like that they want to ask, it's totally fine. Yes. And so, yes, like I said, I hope that you were able to get something from this, take something away from this to apply today, to get started today. And I really want to know if you all want to share with me, like, what is your next step? Like, it's great to take in all this information, but what are you going to do next? Like starting this week, next week, this month, to really get started on either figuring out if you want to start a business, figuring out what your business is, like your people, like what is something that you took from this that you can apply, like starting now? I would love to hear it if you want to share. Oh, yay, I'm glad. Thank you. I always feel motivated after hearing you. Thank you, Candace. I'm glad. That makes me happy. That makes everything worth it, seriously. But yeah, I would love to hear. Joyce says, really focus on my brand story. I love that. Story is everything. Storytelling is everything. Like people connect. We're literally wired for storytelling. That's how we remember stuff, like historically, ancestrally, like all that good stuff. Like storytelling is everything. So once you hook people in with a story, it's all good. Especially if they can see themselves in that story too. Yeah, that's really good. But yes, if anybody else wants no more questions or anybody wants to share what their next step is, then we will wrap up. And yeah, and so our next meetup for Black Girl Creative will be next month. It is June, and I'll send out that date soon. And I'll also send the replay from this. I'll also send the past 2 replays from our past 2 meetups, because I feel like it really kind of goes in with like fear and judging ourselves and things like that, and becoming brave. And I really feel like that's important. That's a lot of work that we have to do for anything we do, whether it's business or creating, anything like that. So I'll be sure to send that as well. So yeah. All right. If anybody wants to share anything, Marquita says next, writing down all of my ideas and picking one. Yes, because the wonderful thing about picking one thing, and I know I just said we're gonna wrap up, but the wonderful thing about picking one thing is you can always change your mind. If it doesn't work out, you can always change your mind. You can always go back to the drawing board. Like every day you wake up, you can change your mind. So don't feel like you're pigeonholed like to one thing. Don't feel like, oh, if I choose this one thing, I can never choose anything ever again. Like it's my all in all, it's the end all be all. It's not. And even when you choose that one thing, it will change over time. And it's okay because we change, your people change, your audience changes. And hopefully you're able to meet their needs or send them over to somebody else who can better meet their needs for that thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, picking one thing, then figuring out maybe you hate it and then trying something else. That's literally all I do. That's all I do. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was informative. If nobody has anything else they want to say or share. Oh, if you want to share like who you are, what you do, like how other people here can support you, please do. And I'll share those links and those resources in the email following up this replay. All right. And Jamisha says budget and fun and vacation. Yes, because it's non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. Like people play like vacation fun is extra. It's not. It's necessary. People need rest. People need play. Like you're not here just to work. You're not a mule. You're not an animal. Even animals have fun, right? So like, you know what I'm saying? Budget and fun and vacation. All right. And again, build your life around that. Why not? Why not? You know, the wealthy do, the other folks do. Why can't you do the same thing? So yes, work to live, not live to work. That's the mindset I'm trying to shift now. So, all right. Well, if that's all, I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful rest of the month. And for those of you who are deciding to sign up, I'll see you June 1st. If not, I will see you next month for our next meetup. And I love you guys. All right. Hope it was helpful. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Okay. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.
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 Bye.